So I have been watching what is taking place with Dr. Michael Brown. And if you are paying attention to a lot of the incidents that are taking place within the church, there seems to be a bit of a theme that is going on that seems to kind of be absent here, which is oftentimes it appears to be allegations that are being made about an individual from the past and things that are presently still occurring, and that not having properly been addressed. So it's not typically that somebody comes forth and says, okay, this person did something and it's not still occurring right now. Like there's still some level of abusive behavior taking place now. We're seeing that the person is still doing things that are highly questionable. It typically seems like there's a theme and pattern of behavior that is persistent. And typically the person makes a statement either warranting that the person is not guilty or owning to small fractions of the behavior and not really addressing the full problem, not really disclosing how they addressed it in the past, etc. In this situation, it seems to be a bit of a different pattern. It seems like something that occurred in 2002 that to Dr. Michael Brown's understanding was addressed at that point. There doesn't seem to be any allegations that are taking place currently. The only thing that I saw that took place that seemed to be questionable in the eyes of others was him hiring his son-in-law. That seemed to be really kind of the only thing. And I'm not saying that was appropriate actions, not commenting on that. I'm saying that it appears like there is kind of a different occurrence that's taking place here, which is something happened in 2002. And by virtue of what took place in 2002 and how people felt it was addressed or not addressed sufficiently, and it seems like reports from people who were formerly working there, most of them seem to be former employees of that particular space. And they have asked this person to come forth and make this public statement, right? So she's saying this is with the intention for me to forgive, to move forward, to hold him accountable, because they felt unhappy with the fact that he addressed this behavior in others. So they tried to address it in 2002. There seemed to be an understanding that it was rectified. They tried to bring it up again in 2017. And then it seems like more currently, they're bringing it up again. There seems to be no history of this currently happening, of this type of abusive behavior presently happening, which puts me in a place to kind of question what is happening behind this incident. What is happening behind, like, what is the intention and purpose of addressing this? So we say that we want to bring accountability and we want to understand like why things weren't properly addressed at that particular point. And this video is not with the intention to determine guilt or not guilt, because I don't know. God knows what actually happened between the two of them. So even in the place of two statements between two individuals, this is one of the reasons, even in a legal process, we would have challenges with determining whether a person is guilty or not guilty, because it's two opposing personal statements, right? So there needs to be some level of evidence to verify that. Now we have statements made by, again, former employees who are saying this happened in 2002. So these are people who understood what was taking place at that time, had concerns at that time, and are now bringing it up 22 years later. This seems odd to me. And I'm going to say that as this isn't just about a person needing time to heal in order to make a public statement. This still seems kind of strange that this would be brought up in this way at that time. What would be the purpose behind that? So the person is claiming they were approached. The person is claiming that people couldn't let it go in the ministry. So there was also obviously some level of anger, resentment that still filtered into that space that people were not necessarily addressing directly. I'm unclear why they wouldn't have brought it up at an earlier time to a board of directors, why no one would have said anything if staff members were noticing what was taking place. And because this pattern seems to be slightly different than what normally happens, which is somebody has done something in the past and is kind of recurringly demonstrating particular types of behavior presently, we're not really seeing that, and we haven't seen that, then I really want to caution us as the Christian community to exercise wisdom, patience, mercy, and generosity the way you would ask for yourself to be provided that in a situation where you did something 22 years ago. Because it doesn't seem like he is necessarily denying that he made poor decisions at that point. And it doesn't seem like that didn't occur at that point too. He acknowledged it at that point. So I do have question marks about how this is handled. I do have question marks about how people who are making public statements, who are claiming friendships and relations with him, are handling this as well. Like automatically really putting this person in a position of guilt. And I'm just going to say wholeheartedly, why would you investigate a situation via email? That sounds strange to me too. Like, why would, if this is a person who is a friend and who needs to, you want to have a conversation and understand what's going on with this individual, you're putting a person in a situation where they have to document everything that is taking place in a conversation, right? So yes, I could understand how that also might feel a bit difficult to explain via an email. That sounds to me like something that should have occurred in an actual face-to-face meeting with a person, a phone call, perhaps, maybe a video conference. Like, to me, it seems odd that this was occurring via an exchange of emails to determine guilt. I think anybody would say that is an odd way to have a conversation with a person you consider a friend. So I would caution us. I know we don't like to use the scripture, he who is without sin, not to cast the first stone. I know that's not necessarily a scripture that we like in situations like that, because I do think we like to stone people for guilt, because by definition of that makes us look more pious, which is actually in part what Jesus was cautioning. Like, not to show partiality in how we stone those who are doing something that is wrong. So is this me saying on Dr. Michael Brown's behalf, I believe he did something correct? Nope. I am not saying that at all. I'm saying I'm not throwing a stone. I'd like to see what takes place. I'd like to see what happens. I'm not going to determine his fate yet. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. And I think we really need to be very careful about how we handle these situations, not to slander people in these situations. Let us allow time to take place for this investigation to unfold. And with that, we will be able to make a better decision and understanding to draw the appropriate conclusion so that we judge rightly. Again, another thing we were cautioned to do, judge rightly without hypocrisy. So I know for myself, I can tell you wholeheartedly, I did some stupid things at the beginning of my Christian walk. And I'm grateful for the grace of God that I don't have any public statements made about me, about the dumb things I did in the beginning of my Christian walk. I don't know how long he was in this, and I don't know what his maturation looked like. But I can say that I do find some of this inconsistent as well on the other side, and I would like to see what happens. I would like to extend grace to Dr. Michael Brown. I would like us to pray for him. I am praying for you, Dr. Michael Brown, if you see this statement. I am praying for you. I pray to God that there be grace and mercy in this process for you, because it doesn't seem like this is something that is currently happening in your life. It seems like what took place, there has been some level of restoration. And to the rest of you, hold your stones, let the process occur. Stop drawing conclusions about people before it happens. This is a person who has had a very long ministry. Let us give it time. Let us be patient. Let us be long-suffering. Let us persevere and see what takes place before we jump the gun.